Lemkin Solitaire and Equalizer seeders and planters offer disruptive innovation like vertical banding, dry and or liquid onboard fertilizer, and great prices. Go to lemkindemo.com for more information and to request a demo.
Bernard Tobin here at the Advanced Crop Nutrition Forum with Mosaic in Tampa, Florida, and I'm catching up with Mosaic's Director of New Product Development, Ross Bender. Ross, how's it going?
Doing very well, thank you. Good to see you here today.
Well, thanks for the invitation. I want to talk about Mosaic here. 20 years old now, the company. I want to talk about, I guess, the mission, and especially from a new product development perspective, it really comes down to growing more food for people.
That's right. Mosaic's mission is to help the world grow the food it needs. We just celebrated, as you mentioned, our 20th birthday, and we're really proud of that. And much of the first 20 years, we worked on tackling the problem of global food through traditional dry fertilizer sources, commodity products like potash, MAP and DAP, and our differentiated products like MicroEssentials, Aspire, and K-Meg. But really what we feel will take us through the next chunk of our life is optimizing the performance of that dry granular fertilizer with biosciences and biological technologies. Our mission is to help the world grow the food it needs, and whatever we can do to help deliver those solutions to make plants more productive and profitable is what we're looking to do.
Now, your job is to come up with those products, of course. But is it as simple as saying to do that you need to understand, crop nutrition and how plants work?
It is. That's the basic of it. So plants exist because of their need to take energy from the sunlight and convert that into basically sugars. We call it photosynthesis. And most of the plant is comprised of those carbohydrates, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. But really the thing that drives plant performance centers around the things that are limiting fertilizer. And that's what we apply. NPK, secondary macronutrients, micros, etc. So our job is to better understand what plants need and when, and then how we can develop tools to meet their needs at key times of the growing season.
You also talked about, the need to develop value. There needs to be value from, for Mosaic and for the grower. You talked about the philosophy of 3-to-1 ROI. Tell us about that.
That's the foundational principle of what we do. If we can't, any company for that matter, if you can't create a technology that creates significantly more value, then we need to be creating a technology that creates a lot of value. And if it doesn't, we really don't need to bring it to the marketplace. So what we target is a 3-to-1 ROI. So if the grower invests, say, $5 an acre, we want to make sure that they're getting $15 back. And that typically leaves enough return for the grower and enough return to share with the retailer and the manufacturer, such as Mosaic. If we can do that and do that successfully, it helps make the whole world go around. Everybody can grow a little bit.
Let's talk a little bit about the world. Let's talk about your global research footprint. Paint us a snapshot.
Mosaic is a company core to fertilizer. Our core countries that we operate in 5 core regions: North America, South America, Central Latin America, and then China and India. And we have a core research program that focuses on cropping systems and customers in those core countries. So that's where we start. We focus on starting in the lab, expanding it to the greenhouse, bringing those leading technologies to the field for those that are left. For every good product we bring to the market, we probably kill 6 to 8 or 10 products. We want to make sure that we're only bringing the very best technologies to the market. So we're gonna get rid of the really bad stuff and keep only the best stuff left.
A couple of rapid fire questions for you here. What about particular crops? What's the focus there?
We focus our crops on those that are core to the retailers that we serve. Generally, that's row crops: corn, soy, wheat, alfalfa, cotton, canola. I'm forgetting some. Once you get into Brazil, you'll see some of the more specialty crops, coffee, for example. Latin America, you see bananas. There's quite a range of crops, but really the core ones are the corn, soy, wheat. I didn't mention rice. That's also an important crop.
Yeah. Now, I've done a lot of reporting on seed and crop protection and what it takes to get one of those products or one of those varieties to market. What does it take from a cost perspective to develop a new crop nutrition product?
To develop a new product, it will take anywhere from as little as 2 years to as much as 7 to 8 years, sometimes more, depending on how novel and new it is. Cost, it ranges dramatically depending on the complexity. We can bring a newly enhanced version of a technology to the market for easily under $5 million. Some of the newer, more advanced stuff that takes a little bit longer, it can easily be $10 to $15 million, depending on the complexity and the time and how much new stuff we're trying to do all at once.
Now, a couple of the farmers here and the retailers today asked the question, now, where do you get your ideas?
Where do our ideas come from? We source the ideas from the customers we serve, the retailers and the farmers. Sometimes it's a little hard to say, hey, this is my problem, you should use this as a solution, and there's a solution handed to you on a silver platter. It doesn't work like that. So what we try to understand is what the core problems are, and then we work to identify solutions to solve that problem.
Final thought here, Ross, and that is you talked about 3 trends that are really impacting, I guess, the fertility space and being successful in that space. And let's start with partnering fertility with biologicals and biostimulants, in the crop nutrition space. What's happening there? Obviously, we talked a lot about biostimulants today.
Yeah, I messaged this up as 3 trends that might impact the fertility space. Well, the first one that we mentioned was the soil health space. That's not a might. That's a guarantee. It's already occurring. And the idea in principle is how do we partner best-in-class biological biosciences tools to fully unlock the value of the crop nutrition investment we make in traditional granular, dry, or liquid fertilizers. So how do we maximize the return on that investment? So what I encourage retailers and growers to think about include shifting the paradigm. How do we partner both of those types of tools together, which maximizes the likelihood that we're going to have a really good response? And I also encourage growers and retailers to think about how we make decisions around fertility management simultaneously. In other words, don't spread our fertilizer now and then try to think about a biological solution later. Is there a way that you can try to think about making those decisions simultaneously? Because crop nutrition really requires a comprehensive approach to being successful.
Another trend you talked about was, just what we're seeing in the field, and that is, higher yield and, changing nutrient uptake. It used to be put it all out in front, but a lot of these crops need it late now.
That's exactly right. As we continue to target higher and higher yields, which we have successfully been able to do for a very long time, it fundamentally changes how plants take up and use nutrients. General rule of thumb, plants take up nutrients faster and for longer now than ever before. Some of those nutrients are really critical in making the grain. So that drives nutrient availability and accelerates it later on in the growing season. Those types of nutrients tend to be nitrogen, sulfur, phosphate, and zinc. So looking for ways to extend the availability of nutrients early, but also later, is going to give you the best shot at being successful in your next growing season.
The final thing you wanted to talk about was human diets and where that may take us from a crop nutrition, crop production perspective.
Yeah, one of the things that we talked about today was around the human diets and also energy needs. So a couple things. We anticipate, based on the data that we have, is continue to see large consumption of the crops that we produce for energy production. Corn for ethanol. Based on what we see increases in crush capacity in soybean for biodiesel. The second one is protein consumption globally. We continue to see that as nations develop and progress, that there's going to continue to be increased protein consumption, Asia, Europe, United States. And finally, the last one was different trends and changes to diets at a localized or regional level. We see diets continue to evolve. Sometimes there's even tools out there that might help you manage your weight, and that might lead to a reduction in your weight loss or improved weight loss, but it could result in a reduction in your calorie needs. Right now, that is starting in some countries, but if that continues to expand at a really large scale, that could impact its way all the way down to agriculture and what we produce and how much is needed.
Yeah. Well, Ross, hey, really appreciate you taking some time. A great look at the R&D space and crop nutrition. Appreciate you making some time for Real Agriculture.
Thank you so much. Really enjoyed the conversation, and good luck to everybody in 2025.